So as you see here in this picture, we're going to graph this function. The picture's already labeled here. A couple things that I want to point out though is notice that we have a negative out in front of a parabola. That's actually going to cause this guy to reflect downwards, and we've seen that in other situations. When we were talking about absolute value functions, we saw a negative would cause it to reflect over the x-axis. Without using a graphing calculator, if I don't know what something looks like to begin with, I'm going to set up a table and I'm going to plug in values. So we have this table here. So if I plug in the point 0, and I plug it into the equation right here, well, 0 squared is 0, so I get the point 0, 0, and that's that point that I'm plotting right there. If I plug in -1, well, I would go, -1 squared, and then we have a negative on the outside. So that actually is -1. That would be that point right there. If I plug in a 1, that's going to be a negative of 1 squared. That gives me -1 also. And we're seeing the progression of the shape that already exists on the actual image here. And then if I plug in -2, well, I'm going to get the same thing. A -2 squared is 4, and we got a negative in front. Plug in a +2, we're actually going to get the same result, -4. And this creates this graph that we see here. Now there's pieces to this graph that we look at and we define, like the anatomy of a cell and how you guys do that in a biology class. We have those same things when we're looking at different graphs in math. If you look at this slide, we have a couple things. So there's some notes here, regarding the vertex. The vertex is considered the maximum or minimum point of the parabola. So if we look at this, the maximum, well, if we look, the maximum is the highest point. So when the parabola opens down, and I'm saying down because the arrows are moving down, it's considered a maximum. So this guy right here is our vertex, this point. I'm going to change colors to red so you can see it. So that point right there is the vertex. So in this example, the vertex is at 0, 0. The highest value that for y, for this function, is 0. That's the maximum point. And now we have this other piece that says, hey, if I was to fold this piece of paper, if I could, or this image, I want the two sides of the parabola to fold on top of each other and coincide. That's going to be, that fold is the axis of symmetry. And so this dashed line right here, this red line that I just drew is our axis of symmetry. And now notice that the axis of symmetry goes through the vertex. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but those are just some of the basic pieces of a parabola and a little introduction on how to graph it if I didn't have a calculator. And we'll do more with the actual calculator. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day.